qualified for the Boston Marathon. I refocused on this goal back in March of 2023 by embarking on a 6-month training plan to complete my first 50-miler/ultra run. I wanted to run the Capitol Trail from Rockets Landing to Jamestown. My peak mileage was 55 to 65 miles a week, which included 5 days a week of running and 2 days of complete recovery. This goal was accomplished in October of 2023, and I learned a lot about myself in regards to running, including ideal training times and workout days, as well as nutrition for very long run/hard workouts, including electrolyte mix, good sources of carbs to protein ratio, caffeine, as well as shoe testing, activation drills, more detailed foam rolling and stretching, and that how helpful and beneficial lots of long, easy running with consistency to build a really strong aerobic base of fitness can be. The Boston Marathon is the oldest annual marathon in the world. For the 2025 edition, there were approximately 10,000 volunteers, over 30,000 runners, with all states represented in over 125 countries, as well as 500,000 spectators. And it was definitely felt out on the course. Over 60% of the participants were first-timers, and I couldn't get to the start line until 6 minutes after our waves started, which definitely could have played into the congestion.
They're like cows, right?
Even from the start, it felt very crowded and I didn't quite feel ready to race. My legs felt strong, but not 100% fresh and loose. Maybe the travel or sightseeing/activities on Saturday played a role in this. Despite this, I was mostly on pace, 9 seconds slow through the first 12 miles. Through 18 miles, I was about a minute slow off of goal pace. However, in the back half of the marathon, or the second half marathon, I started to lose more time. I lost a minute and 36 seconds during segments 4, miles 19 to 21, which is the hilliest section of the course, and then intentionally slowing the last 8K to ensure I didn't fall, get tripped, or cramp. Thus, I lost about 5 to 6 minutes over the last sections. My final time was 2 hours, 45 minutes, and 53 seconds. I probably had a 242, 243 in the legs on the day. So not the perfect result, but a great experience for my first Boston Marathon. It's definitely a community-supported event like nothing I've ever done before. The whole race felt like a parade with the crowds. I'm proud to have qualified and completed the race along with an 11-minute PR. This now gives me 4 PRs for the 2025 calendar year, including a 3-minute PR in the half marathon, a 35-second PR in the 10K, and a 20-second PR in the 5K. So I don't really love the marathon distance, but I might be convinced to run Boston a few more times. I think I had the fitness to run a sub 240 on an ideal day, but not sure I want to do another marathon in 2025. For now, the immediate plans are probably to switch to some more 5 and 10K racing over the spring and summer, and then reevaluate where I stand in the fall before potentially ramping up in late 2025, 2026 for Boston 2026. Pros for Boston Marathon for 2025. It was a great experience. It's definitely a bucket list event full of community support both in and around the Boston area from runners and non-runners alike. There's definitely a parade-like atmosphere with the cheering, and I ran a PR, which you can never be unhappy about. The cons, It was super congested and involved a lot of changing gears and directions that I think definitely was more taxing than maybe originally planned. It would recommend to somebody new to maybe add in some fartlek running in addition to preparing for the hills, which are not only in the back half of the race, but throughout the course as well. There was also very poor pavement in and around the Boston area, which I think contributed to some unsure conditions on my part and some of the intentional slowing down. 5 things that I learned from my first Boston experience. One, the expo didn't have a lot of gear or gel offerings. It's mostly the Adidas store that's available online prior to the race. However, you are able to try things on. If you need other items, you have to go to the pop-up marathon sports stores around the city. Number two, the course is all rolling hills, with the Newton Hills being the biggest change in elevation, but definitely prepare for a hilly rolling course. As mentioned before, in addition to hill training, I would also recommend a fair amount of fartlek running into your long runs. Due to the crowds and the need to change directions, speed up and slow down, get around others, navigate the terrain, or get in and out of aid stations successfully, which are thankfully on both sides of the road. I'd recommend this at least once a week for both. Seed time does matter if you want to run fast. I estimate an extra 5,000 to 7,000 runners in front of me with being in Corral 6 of Wave 1 versus maybe one of the earlier corrals. Furthermore, not everyone is able to run their seed time, which can add to congestion. Number 5, really have to temper your emotions throughout the weekend, especially for your first Boston experience. With the race on Monday as well, this complicates things further. If you go to the expo on Friday or Saturday, you still have days before the race, which is not usually the process for most races. Then on race morning, you are starting your day several hours earlier to allow for transportation and security purposes. Overall, a few pros and cons I would take from the race. The cons, it was super congested, and as mentioned, would definitely recommend fartlek running at least once a week for this. It's also not all about the Newton Hills. The course is very rolling from start to finish, so be prepared. And then very poor pavement in the last 4 miles definitely added to the extra challenge that already comes with running a marathon. On the pros or plus side, this was a great overall experience. Definitely a bucket list event for most runners. It's full community support from both runners and non-runners alike, given the large crowds and party-like atmosphere. Overall, this is definitely a positive experience and one I would recommend doing at least once. Anyway, that's all for now. I'll see you in the next one.